Hey everybody. In this video we're going to be exploring meditation and the 3 challenges that pop up for a lot of beginners as well as people that are well on their way. My name is Hans Gullikson. I've been meditating for over 20 years and I'm looking forward to getting into this. Alright, so the first one that I'm going to be going over is a busy mind. So you're sitting down, you're planning to meditate for whether it's 5 minutes or half an hour, and once you're sitting down, your mind either drifts away into all kinds of thoughts, kind of more unconsciously, or you're trying to meditate, you're trying to be focused, you're in the spot, but your mind is just going and going and going, whether you're frustrated with some kind of problem, you're upset at somebody, or you have responsibilities that are just, you're continually working out. Busy mind, monkey mind, some people call it. For this first one, I'm gonna flip it over on its head, and we're gonna start seeing how this actually is a jumping off point for the crucial work that is literally right at your doorway, and you don't need to make any changes. What's going on in your life and what's going on in your meditation is already perfect. It's exactly what you're wanting. To start out with, this is your meditation. If your mind's drifting away and then after your time's up, the alarm goes off, in your mind you're thinking, oh, I wasn't meditating, or the whole time you're trying to meditate and you're noticing your brain's thinking, and then when you're finishing you're frustrated and you're like, oh, I sat down for this amount of time and I wasn't even able to meditate. So I want you to take the lens of your consciousness, the lens that you're viewing your meditation from, that's all these thoughts are going in that. I want you to pull it back to envision you, your life, and that amount of time, and realize that thinking, and also the frustration, the thinking you should stop, or just even the phase of having sort of drifted away, so your thoughts just sort of ended up floating around without your conscious awareness of it. And that literally is your meditation. And that's an amazing place for the work that needs to be done. And you can trust that the work is being done as long as you're sitting down, committing for the time. The internal development is happening. Your commitment to your life is happening. The one thing I want you to flip around is pulling your lens back and watching yourself thinking, watching yourself being frustrated, watching yourself feeling that you're not getting the most out of your time. And over time, things are going to begin to shift. Once you have that in place, things are going to begin to shift. The frustration may begin to develop where instead of the thoughts spinning around, it's more kind of a frustration, or it's going to begin to start cooking. More than likely, we'll begin to find good physical feelings also. A lot of times there's, if you are bumping into these challenges, it's going to be more of a challenging feelings and spots in your body that are going to be uncomfortable. But as this shifts and develops, you are going to be beginning to find deeper sense of clarity. That's going to be kind of unifying feeling. So I invite you to try that process out, and let me know in the comments how that, if that's workable. Number 2 is, if you're sitting down, you're committing to meditate, and you just pass out, you fall asleep. Now, I'm going to be saying kind of the similar things for all these. That is your meditation. If you're meditating for half an hour, you sit down, after 5 minutes, you're passed out, that is your meditation. And I'm going to break this specific one into two pieces. If there's a conscious focus that's going on, that's growth style meditation. During the time that you're sitting, focused, and paying attention to your physical experience, physical sensation, physical body, and watching and you're paying attention to where your experience draws you. That's energetic growth. You're developing your energetic strength. You're broadening the scope for being able to pull in and let the energy flow through you. And that's one of the main goals for meditation. I mean, that's where you're going to be getting a lot of benefits and development. When you're in the second phase, which I would call the healing phase, and a lot of people are oftentimes in this phase, that's where there's not such a conscious focus. You're not so consciously, actively engaged. It's more of a passive experience of things. And that can include falling asleep or semi-passing out. Healing phase is super important, and it's super important for a lot of people. So and it can also just be a practical thing, like you're coming home from work, you sit down, you have a half an hour to meditate before your kids come home, or whatever the situation is, and you're tired from work. So you sit down and meditate, but you're going to pass out. You find yourself every day just kind of passing out. So something like that, it's a fairly practical situation. You're decompressing from work, but that does not change the situation. That's still 100%. You're sitting down to meditate. In that meditation space, you're finding yourself going into the more passive experience. So that's just healing, and that's good because you're giving, each day you're giving yourself a space to really heal, which is a lot different than sitting in front of the TV and zoning out or what have you. Now, if you're wanting to, important side note, if this is happening every day and you're wanting to try to work more, or wanting to work more in this conscious, focused growth mode, then you literally have to find a time, whether it's even just 1 minute, 5 minutes, like whatever amount of time, if you're busy in a busy schedule, where you're not going to be exhausted, not going to be tired. Now, this also, the passing out thing won't even necessarily happen when you are tired. It could. There's a lot of reasons why you will pass out. A lot of the times when I pass out is because I'm tired. But when there is a higher level of energetic flow, a lot of times the response is to pass out. And so times when things have kind of amped up for me, that one of the things that oftentimes happens is I'll begin to find myself passing out more, or just sinking more into the passive experiential mode of meditation. So that's an ebb and flow that will happen in a lot of, if you are meditating consistently, and you have kind of a dynamic relationship with your you're in the zone. That's going to ebb and flow throughout your practice. So again, if you're wanting to have a more conscious, focused meditation going on, growth style meditation, then find some time. If you wake up and you have 5 minutes before you get dressed, just sit for a few minutes in conscious, focused meditation. And again, either one of those are crucial and really important for development. The third mindset that seems to pop up for people is when they're sitting, whether they're just doing their first experience, or they've been consistently sitting, but they're just not feeling anything. So if you're sitting, and during your time, again, whether it's just you're just trying it out one time, or whether you've been doing it for a half a year or whatever, and basically if I say, how's it going? And your honest answer is, I have no idea, I don't feel anything. There's different levels of not feeling something. Like some people are very detached from their bodies, which I would just say that's becoming attached to your body is a good thing. So where you are is not good or bad, but you're wanting to, the more that you're engaged with your body, the better. So if you're, it can be a thing where you're just literally very detached from your body for whatever reason. Another thing is where you don't necessarily have any specific challenges like that, but you just you're not just clicked. It's for some reason it's not clicking, and you could be a very physically engaged person. You can be, everything seems to be fairly in tune, but just when you're sitting, you're just like, I don't know, I don't feel it. So again, I'm going to flip that on its head and do the lens thing. So what you're looking at again is the lens. If you're detached with your body, that's another thing I'm going to go over. But for the general thing where you're more or less engaged, but when you sit down to meditate, the lens that you're experiencing your life and experiencing meditation basically is giving you just nothing. So again, it's the same thing where you're pulling the lens back and you're going to be able to see you want to begin to notice what's been around that peripheral. So pulling the lens back and connecting with your body, feel where the physical sensation is in your body, and sticking with it, that should begin to give hints to what's going on during this time of sitting. And again, you might just be going like, oh yeah, like, okay, so I felt my body, but like nothing happened. Well, okay, so that's the thing. So then we're wanting to just go step by step with that and go deeper, because it very well could be that you're maybe very good at doing this kind of thing. You're just kind of discounting what meditation basically is, or what's happening in your meditation. So when you're sitting for this amount of time and you're not feeling anything, pull that lens back, focus on your physical sensation, see where that's leading you, and pay attention to where it's shifting and changing the sensation, the quality, the intensity, and that should begin to get you going. Now the other part where you're feeling detached from your body, there can be things in relation to trauma, which, I mean, I've had that. A lot of people have a lot of things going on in their life where they've detached themselves. I think most people, especially in the Western world, have very compartmentalized. They experience their life in a very compartmentalized way, and it can be trauma from just not anything dramatic happened, but just the trauma of really not being engaged in a society where you are kind of encouraged to be, just socially encouraged to be kind of a holistic person. So it doesn't necessarily have to be anything dramatic or really extreme, but if you find yourself in that spot, you sort of need to take baby steps with allowing your energetic body, your conscious mind, your emotional mind, your emotional body, all those things are wanting to synergistically work together. So this last little element of the not feeling something mindset is a really beautiful thing, and it's something that you have to take little baby steps with to notice. You don't have to do anything. What you're doing is when you're sitting, you're allowing your larger self time and space to begin to piece back together, and giving yourself the time and space to like not feel something, while doing your best to engage with your body, engage where the sensation is, following or moving, and just slowly and with acceptance, allowing that to happen at its own accord. And when we're looking at the physical body, the emotional body, the energetic body, for people that are maybe a little bit disconnected, some people may be really wanting to really gifted at connecting with the energetic and not so much with the physical, I would really stress the importance of allowing that physicality and your very physical, emotional side to begin to have space in your meditation, while you're meditating, and allowing all those things to connect on their own accord. Because your body wants to be part of the process, your emotions want to be part of the process, your ego wants to be part of the... people talk kind of negatively about ego, and there's, people use or misuse the idea of the ego, but just, your conscious mind wants to be part, every part of you wants to be part of something, and meditation, giving yourself the space for meditation allows for those things to negotiate and to find a synergistic place to exist and be the best they can. So this was the 3 mindsets that oftentimes are little stumbling blocks for people. I hope those shed light on those things, but also just a larger idea of meditation in general. And I'm going to be doing more of these videos. I would love to hear your comments below. I love my own personal process. I've loved my journey exploring and kind of developing this stuff. And there's nothing more interesting than to see what other people are doing, to hear how their journey has been, the challenges, the positive things that they've developed. So if this has been an interesting video and you want to share something, please do it. You can also like the video and subscribe, and I'll look forward to sharing more in the future. Thanks a lot. Bye.